Okay, this is again talking about corruption in the C-suite.
We can't stop here. It's Bat Country.
Matthew Stoller, who does some amazing work on monopolies, and that is what I follow him for. Because he talks about monopolies and he talks about what's going on in the C-suite, and he talks about what's going on at the FTC with regard to trying to break up monopolies and control big businesses, or big businesses controlling our government.
Right.
So Stoller is worried because of
Tim Cook.
all these big tech CEOs. All right.
Yeah.
Now he wrote this before they met with the Senate Judiciary Committee, but they did vote this bill through committee, which again he says is an overwhelming thrashing for big tech, and it starts with that, and that lots of senators that indicated they had technical concerns with the bill will probably vote no's when it comes up. However, thanks to Amy's grandstanding, a lot of them ended up voting yes, including Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham. A lot of that stuff was about Section 230, and they want to get rid of Section 230 for their own censorship type of purposes more than anything. Yeah. They don't like the way that Facebook has been regulating, and they're treated as they want to treat Facebook more as a publisher and have them being even more of a nanny state.
Yeah, because then they have to control what they publish, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Even more so, but they, Matt's talking about how they have been taking about the problem of big tech more seriously, and they've been talking about breaking up big tech, talking about Ferdinand Pecora. I love that he gives mention to Ferdinand Pecora, and I did want to give a shout out to the Real Progressives. They created a series called the Pecora Files, and it talks about antitrust, behind the scenes wrongdoings and law breaking, and great series. So if everybody, I would highly recommend that as well. Okay, but Ferdinand Pecora went through millions of documents and learned how these firms work, producing widely respected report on the relationship of tech firms, the democratic systems of government. Right, the final report is reverberated globally and led to multiple antitrust suits and significant legislative effort. All right, so you had once they announced that the Senate Judiciary hearing was announced, once the hearing was announced, all of a sudden phones started to light up on Capitol Hill. So, lobbying by big tech is fast and furious. And what happened? The committee was going to take up a House bill that would prohibit Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Apple from preferencing their own products. So we've seen this for years. I mean, Microsoft putting Internet Explorer and their crappy Edge browser on everything, and Facebook. And I think he even talks about, I read an article somewhere else about how Bono laments the fact that they allowed that they allowed Apple to put that album on like every iPhone and every device and had it like autoplay. My wife still has that. Like, she doesn't really use Apple iMusic or the Apple Music. And they pushed that album when she first got her phone, and still to this day, once in a while, she'll turn the car on and that thing will start playing. It's like,
funny,
right? So again, talking about fraud in the App Store, and talking about the gates in the App Store. Look, there was just a battle with Epic about rights and how much the app stores are charging developers on the in-game bucks that are being charged on the platforms, which is fascinating lawsuit.
Well, the lawsuits are essentially like two companies that are trying to be as greedy as possible, and like don't want the other person being greedier than them. It's a crazy, like,
right. And then there's Amazon like learning from third-party sellers and then putting their own basic goods and amplifying that. That's exactly, if you look at the seller forums, there's a lot more skepticism about them. There's also an attempt to gin up controversy over whether it would cover firms like Walmart. Again, this is great stuff, and this is something that I think that because we don't talk about capitalism and we're anti-capitalists, we don't analyze what's going on inside the business world enough to see what moves are being made where. Okay, again, the main strategy will be to attach a poison pill amendment to this bill that would destroy it. All right, they saw in the House mark up the same bill. So they'll try to water this down. And Silicon Valley spent a ton of money to try to impact legislation. And now, again, you've seen this Silicon Valley to Washington pipeline. Our Secretary of State was a lobbyist himself for the, for the tech industry in defense. Was it West Exec Partners, I believe, is the firm that Blinken was a member of.
Right.
Okay, codifying the consumer welfare standard is a way of destroying legislation while sounding like you're just standing up for consumers. Lobbyists are telling senators and staffers, well, if you can't be with us on the bill overall, at least support us on the consumer welfare standard amendment. It's a poison pill, and it may or may not work. So again, Cook and Pichai are working the phones to make sure that it does. Okay, so here's a letter that's going around to the House delegation. And it's signed by all our favorite organizations. Again, Matt is also an independent journalist, follows Monopoly, fan of his work. Definitely support him. He went more of a paid format earlier this year, and now he's delivering more premium content to paid subscribers. So if you want to learn more about business, what's happening in the C-suite, what's happening between business and government, definitely follow Matt Stoller. He's one of the sources that I rely on.